Hello, everyone. This is Sunshine Valentine here with Solstice Live, Solstice Beauty Inc. So wonderful to be here with you guys. Tonight is a very special class. We're doing the Neon Kaleidoscope hair. How many of you guys have ever done or seen the Neon Kaleidoscope hair before? And if so, have you ever wondered how it looks, how it came about? Well, I saw it about, I would say it was about 3 or 4 years ago. The first time I saw it, it was in a Modern Salon hair magazine, and it was on an undercut. So actually, it was just kind of like a little piece of hair, a section of hair that was like under the big section. So it'd be like if you parted this in half and put that part up, there was rainbow there. And then this was for people who maybe during the day they work in a corporate environment, and it's not really acceptable in that environment to wear vivid colors, or what we call now creative color hair. This wasn't really acceptable back then. So people would wear undercut, and then they would take the top half of their hair, put it up in a ponytail, and then get a chance to show off like the back part of their hair when they went out to party. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. If you know anything about me, you know that the rainbow is not a political statement or a sexual preference for me. I love all colors of the rainbow, and I really adhere to what the rainbow was originally designed for in my belief system. So I love a rainbow. So this kind of look was always like really cool and exciting to me. And I was like, oh my goodness, how do they do that? How do they make it look? So about 1.5 years ago, I signed up for a color class with Cynthia Lumzy, and I was really excited to learn some of these techniques with the rainbow hair. She does a lot of rainbow hair. And when I was in beauty school, we learned about coloring, but not necessarily the creative colors. We did some creative colors, but usually as highlights on darker hair, but not where the creative color was like the main or even the feature of the hair. After that, after beauty school, I went and took some other color classes and learned more about color, but I was really interested in doing a really bold look. So I took a class with, I took her boot camp class, but then I also took a follow-up class on this kaleidoscope look, and it was actually a few hours ago. So it's one of the reasons why we're having this look be, we're doing this look like an hour later, is because her class ended at 7 o'clock. So I figured, hey, this would be really cool if I get a chance to practice some of the stuff that I learned. Some of it is directly from what I learned from her. A few of the things that I'm going to talk about, she didn't advocate for, but I took it, made it my own, and tweaked it a little bit. We'll see if it works. And hopefully you can enjoy with me. So I'm going to put up information about the Beauty Academy at the bottom. Let me know if you guys are interested in learning this look in the Beauty Academy. If so, I will put a package together and provide all the tools that you need to create this look. And then, of course, within the course, you could have some one-on-one Zoom sessions live, and we can share our ideas and our progress with one another. We'll talk about some other creative uses for this look as well. So hopefully you can see. I'm going to turn this around. This portion of the hair is what I did when I was in class. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's already dry. So I will tell you, I learned a little bit from this piece. And in Instagram, I did this section on Instagram. So we're going to repeat this look today here on Facebook and YouTube. All right, so let's get started. I want to tell you guys a little bit about some of the things that I have here that you might want to get or take advantage of. So one of the first things I want to tell you about is these foil. Now, my teacher told me about these, and I actually had them right here. But either I was not paying attention, or I got distracted, maybe a little bit of both. But I did not put these foils down before I started, and look, I have stained my mannequin's head. I did it in the front. She now has a green nose. I know. I have no idea if this is going to come out. Maybe that'll be another section to see if it comes out. If not, I guess I will have to get another mannequin. Mannequin challenge. So I'm going to go in. Another thing that she said for the look that is in the cover, the bio cover, if you want to make this look really natural, she said don't color it all the way out to the tip. You want to leave a few at the sides free so that you can blend that with whatever hair that you're doing. Her look was a blonde wig, and so you want to leave this kind of free so that this piece can blend with that blonde wig. But you could also go in and do a dark root, and then you would color this dark as well, and that will give you more of a highlighted look so that no matter where you part it, it will kind of stay. So you can see I'm going to be working on the section where the clip is, but I'm not going to be working on the very front of the section. More than likely, I'll probably go back and make that darker and use that as a low light. But I'm going to go ahead and take this onto my little mannequin head so that I don't get more paint on her head. I should have done that first. I should have. But hey, when you're doing something live, sometimes you never know what can happen. So I'm going to just put a little piece of tape down. Just keep that there. I know that there are some color removers out there. I've never tried to remove color from a mannequin before, so I don't know quite if that will work. Maybe that'll be another live to see exactly how color removers work. So another thing I learned in class, I knew a little bit before from other classes that I've taught, but she definitely mentioned to use some conditioner. You want to coat the hair with conditioner in whatever place you do not want the color, so that when you get ready to wash it out, let's say the color drops in a place that you don't want it, the conditioner will coat the hair, and then that way you can rinse it out without having that color transfer. Another thing she mentioned to use right after you have colored it, I don't think I did this on the last live show. When you color it, I don't know if you can see this matrix total results keep me vivid. This is a color lamination spray. I used that last time on the back, but I'm actually not using matrix color, so maybe I should just use the Pravana. Pravana also has a color spray. It's called Color Protect. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is Vivid's Color Protect. Apply to dry or damp hair. Do not rinse. Style as desired. This lightweight mist creates a protective shield that helps fight against color fading. Vivid sealing spray places a protective veil of natural oils, and exclusive sunscreen system on the hair surface to both seal in and protect. So after you color, you're going to want to spray that. So maybe what I'll do is, since I didn't use that on this, I used it on the back. Let's use the Vivid. Actually, I'm not sure if I did or not. I'll use the Vivids on that side. This was the previous side I did on YouTube, so I'm just gonna spray that. Make sure I get the underside. Yeah, so there we go. We'll use the Vivids on the other side. Now, there are a lot of color lines for creative colors now. I will tell you, Pravana was the first creative color line. We use a lot of Pravana. I will also tell you that another thing that I'm being a little creative about, this is not something in my class, but I wanted to try to follow along with the teacher. So the actual color class talked about how to take a 613 wig, full lace wig actually, and turn and use the Kaleidoscope method to put in some creative color. That involved a dual process color, which means you have to color it once and then go back and put the creative colors on top of it. So that's actually coloring it two times, and that takes a very long time. Not something that I can do in a YouTube, but I did want to show you this color pattern. So I went out and got some Foxy Silver Jerry Curl 10-inch platinum hair. It's actually something that I had from a wig that I did for a client, and I still had some left. So I went out and got this. This platinum hair is, as you can see, a bright white. So it's going to look really nice on those Vivids, and you'll be able to see it right away. Now, Pravana, which is the color line that I'm using, does not recommend their colors be used on synthetic and or human hair. And this is supposed to be human hair from the Foxy Silver line. They say that their colors should only be used on natural hair because they cannot guarantee that they're going to last very long. I have used Pravana color on human hair extensions. As a matter of fact, the purple color that I have in my hair now, this color, I don't know if you guys can see it. You can probably see it a little more on this side, is a mixture of 3 Pravana colors to form an ombre. And this color has lasted in my hair for like at least a year without having to retouch it. So I do know that it works, but they're just not promoting that because you never know what's on these kinds of hair. I will say that from experience, it is good to bleach the hair first or use bleach. Not bleach, lighten is the word that I want to use. I will say you will want to lighten the hair first using a bleach and a developer, a lightener and a developer. It will take off any of the gloss that may have been put on the hair to make it shiny. It's going to open up the cuticle and make the cuticle receptive to having the colors in so that you can see the colors and that when you rinse them out, they don't go bleeding out of the hair. So you're definitely going to want to do that step to make sure that the colors do stay in your hair as long as possible. And of course, you'll want to always use cold water when you rinse them out. And you're always going to want to, if possible, you're always going to want to wash it as least as possible and stay out of as much sun as possible and continue to use color shampoo and color treatments like the Vivids to keep those colors bright and in place for as long as you can. So those are awesome tips. I want to introduce you to some of the colors that we'll be using today. It would be the Pravana Neon Vivid Pink, the Pravana Blue Neon, the Pravana Neon Yellow, the Pravana Neon Orange, the Pravana Neon Green, and I wasn't going to use this because it wasn't a neon color, but I decided that we need to add a little bit more of a purple in here somewhere. So it's going to be the Luscious Lavender, and this is not a neon. This is actually a pastel, but I thought it made the right touch. So those are the colors that we're going to be using today, and I got a few more things that I wanted to tell you. some other things that I have here on hand. So I've got a roll of paper towel because I need paper towels a lot. I also have some Lysol cleaner wipes. And I also have, of course, I have sectioning clips. And I also have, oh, the brushes. I am using these edge control brushes instead of the traditional one. This is not something they told me and taught me in class, but I will tell you in a second why I am deciding to use that for this color. So let us get started because this takes a little bit of time. I am going to lock this wig in place. Hopefully you can see her this way. Bring her a little closer to you. Can you still see her? Yes. Okay. And yes, so this is the section of hair that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to take this front section and just kind of clip it out of the way. Because again, we're not going to do that section. It's going to be for blending. One of the top things that I learned, and I'll talk about that while I'm putting out my color. One of the biggest things that I learned about placement from the class was that you should really stick as much as possible to the rainbow. You want to make sure that your colors, because they will touch each other, are not going to conflict with each other and cause hot spots of brown, because when you mix those secondary colors together, you can wind up with a brown. That's from color theory. So you want to avoid that brown unless you really want the brown, but you don't want the brown in the middle of the rainbow. So stay with the color wheel because those colors will naturally fade into one another. And does everybody know the pattern that we're working with from the color wheel? Oh, I bet you do. Roy G. Biv. Kind of reminds me of Belle Biv DeVoe. Dance break. Okay, I won't. Tony said last time I embarrassed myself with the dance break. So I won't break out and dance. But I'm going to be thinking about Belle Biv DeVoe. Now you know. Okay. I won't do that. All right, so let's get started. We're going to do this. Okay, so Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow. That's the Roy part. R-O-Y. G for green. Biv is blue, indigo, and violet. So we're not using red, but we are using the pink. Pink is going to be, neon pink is going to be the red. Of course, orange is already there. Yellow is already there. G, green. Blue, we do not have indigo and violet, which is kind of why I threw in the neons, the pastel, lavender. I just thought I don't have enough hair to add all of those other colors in. And I kind of wanted to go with the bright neon color palette, and that indigo and violet are very strong, very powerful colors. I did not want those colors to take over and be more powerful than the rest of the hair. So that's why I went with the lavender. I got sinuses, guys. I don't want, excuse me, but I don't want all of that to show. So this is the section that I did while I was in class. And one thing she talked about a lot was making sure that you keep even for the kaleidoscope, an even distance between the colors. So you don't want one section of color to be 1 inch and another section of color to be 2 inches and another one to be 3 inches and another one. You know, you want to keep the sections like the same width on the hair shaft. Is that width? Length. You want to keep the sections the same length on the hair shaft to make it look like that really smooth rainbow color so that it just really fades one into the other. And so what I found was it's a lot easier to do that if you measure where you want to start each part and then stick to that throughout the hair. So instead of using a regular color brush, I decided to use this edge protector brush because I can go in and start where the color where I want it to start and stop it where I want it to stop. And then the brush on the other end allows you to smooth the transitions between the two. And then I can measure. I'm going to use the length of the comb as my measurement of where I want to start each color, so then that way I have a really nice color pattern all the way down. So that's why I decided to use this. And then we're going to keep with that Roy G. Biv pattern. She did not use curly hair. I used curly hair because it happened to be what I had. And I think I might be able to do something with this curly look that I've been wanting to do for a while, ever since I signed up for that class. So it's going to be a little more challenging because it is curly, but we're going to work through that and see how it works out, okay? I think it turned out nice on the other side, so let's do this together. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to take about 3 curls together. I'm going to leave this section that's right around where the return hairs are. I'm going to leave that out. Again, I will probably go back in and do a dark root on this, but we're not going to go all the way up to the top. We're going to actually have a specific place where we keep that. So I'm going to go in with the comb and take this pink color and start it right here. Kind of sandwich it across in a specific area right there. Go in and out. I'm going to measure where I want that color to end and then create an end spot for that color. See that? This is the width of the teeth of the comb on both sides. Then I'm going to continue with a little more color and just paint up and down in that section. I'm going to be sure to get the underside. Can you see? Be sure to get the underside. And you really want to coat the hair with this. Be liberal with this color. I'm going to be sure to get the sides of it. And I'm also pulling the hair taut. I'm going to go in now with the brush section, add some color in here, and really kind of smash that color into the hair. You see that? And I'm going to go across rather than going all the way down and then trying to do the same thing across. I'm going to cover this in like 3 sections. So a little more paint here. I'm going to measure where I want the color to end and then paint up and smooth it down and then do the underside. Go in with a little more color. The brushing action really does do a good job of making a smooth transition and packing that color in. I'm going to keep those colors nice and bright. So then I'm going to come over to this next section it's angled a little bit. Start after the return. So even though there's a dip in here, I'm starting after the return here. I started there here, so I don't want to go bring this up higher just because it looks like it's swooping a little lower. Remember, this may be placed right across the front as a blunt bang, and so you want to make sure you start it at the right place. If this were to swoop lower, just because it's on the side of this mannequin right now, it may not be even. So be sure to measure, and then you want to smooth up and smooth down. I'm also going to flip up on the underside. To remember to get out of the camera's way. Smooth up and smooth down. And look at that, I got some yellow on my glove. Now, if this happens, you want to take care of it right away because yellow is a very powerful color. And I do not want to contaminate my colors. I want to try. So when you combine colors, you make secondary. When you combine secondary colors, you make tertiary colors. And I want my neon colors to be bright neon colors. I don't want them to be mixture colors like yellow, orange, or peach even, which can happen. So I'm going to make sure I get that color off of that glove. In addition, I want to wipe off my comb and my brush. I'm going to get as much of that color out of the comb and brush. I have a cup of water here. I clean my brush out and my comb out with a cup of water. You want to be sure to keep your colors pure if that's the look that you're going for. You'd be surprised how much just a little bit of color, can change the look that you're going for. I learned that a little bit here in class. So I had this orange and I was going for a brighter green, but because that orange kind of slid into the green down here, it was a horrible look. Didn't turn out the way I wanted to. So lesson learned, be really careful about the residuals left in brushes or anything that's on your gloves or your combs. Make sure to clean that out as much as possible. And that is why I have the Lysol here, paper towels, and I also have more gloves on hand. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and keep going. So we got our pink layer down, so now it's time for the orange. Make sure to go in and hold this part taut. And we're just going to keep doing the same thing that we were doing with the comb. I'm going to go right up to the line. Actually, I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap there. I'm going to make sure I measure where I want it to end, and that's here. And then go up and down in that area. As I've been doing this technique, I found that it is a little easier to do the comb part of it first all at one time and then come back with the brush and kind of smooth it. So I'm going to go right across with the comb first. I'm going to leave just a little bit of the gap, and then I'll use the brush to smooth it in. So I'm going to go in right here. I'm going to measure. That's where it ends. This will be my end mark, and then smooth up and down. Don't forget to do the underside, up and down. And I left a little bit of a gap just because I'm going to go back in with the brush and smooth that out, but I just want to make sure I'm not bleeding those colors in between time. Learn that mistake. Learn from that mistake. So again, I'm going to go in with a comb. I'm going to not hug it right up against that color line. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap, but I'm going to go straight in with the comb. I'm going to measure the distance. I want that, make an end stop. I want it to end right there, and then smooth up and then smooth down. Do that on the underside as well. Smooth up and smooth down. Be sure to get the sides. Look at the hair from all the sides too, because sometimes the sides get missed. So make sure to do that. So now at this point, I'm going to go back in with my comb and hug it right up against that color. Pull it taut. Smooth it right up. And then smooth it right down. Then I'm going to go in with my brush and just kind of cake it in. Pack it into that hair. In each of the sections. Take a little more with that. Pack it in. And use the brush to kind of melt the sections together. Color melt those sections together. And what I mean by melting is kind of smoothing, like where one color starts and then the other color starts, kind of blending the line between the two of those colors. So that's a smooth transition. All righty, let's move on to our next color. I'm going to use that paper towel. I don't know what it is about the warm colors in the Pravana, if it's color line, but they are so much more powerful than the cool colors. So you really want to make sure you do a good job at getting all the yellows and oranges out, because they will overpower the cool colors. So I'm going to start with this comb and dip it in this water. Be sure that I'm twirling it in that water. I'm going to take a clean paper towel, because a white paper towel is going to show you what residue is left. It looks like I did a pretty good job. Now time for the brush. Smoosh it around in that water. And you want to make sure you clean off the brush before you put it in the water, because the water is just not going to be able to take all that pigment if you don't. And I'm not sure if I shared this with you guys, but in the future, what I would do is I would have a separate one of these brushes for each color that I used, because that way you don't have to worry about mixing colors as much when you have a separate brush for it. So I think this looks pretty clean. What I did notice is I got some yellow on my gloves. So I'm going to go in with a Lysol wipe. Lysol wipe has bleach in it. We'll just form Lysol wipe here. Okay. I'm just going to wipe off any of that residual color. Even on your gloves, it can show up in places on the hair. So I'm going to wipe that down. The other thing that you can do is, of course, use more gloves. I'm going to save that for the end, though I think I'm okay with this. So, all right, so we've got our clean brush, we got our clean hands, and we're going to go in with that next color. So the next color is our yellow. Oh. And same process. Guess I could have saved some steps with the yellow. There we go. Make sure to pull all my hairs down. I'm gonna not go exactly where that orange is. I'm gonna go just below it a little bit. That's gonna be my start. I'm gonna measure with my comb where I want it to end. Put in my end mark. And now I can paint up. When I get to the brush section, I will smooth that down. Same thing on this next section. Doing this on 3 sections. So we got our next section here. I'm going to start it right here. I'm going to measure where I want it to start. Now I want to create my end mark. Go in with my color. And smooth up and smooth down. Don't forget the underside. Don't forget the sides. And then we're going to go straight across with the comb and then come back straight across with the brush. We're going to start it again just under that mark. We're going to measure with the comb, create an end mark for ourselves, and color up and color down. Very detailed, delicate type of color pattern. A lot of work goes into making this rainbow look good. Again, I'm going to put a little more on the brush, and I am going to pack it into the hair with this brush. Make sure to, now I can go up and smooth it or melt it into the previous color and make sure that there's no white color missing. So now I can go in and melt it in as I put that color in. Don't forget to hold the hair taut so that you don't miss any sections of hair. I'm going to go back in with this yellow and really place it. I can see where some of that orange kind of mixed in with that yellow, and it's not as bright there. So I really want to go in and cover that. All right. Look at that bright yellow. Oh, goodness. I love it. Did you guys know my wedding colors were yellow, yellow and gray? I bet you didn't know that. I bet you wanted to know that. Maybe I'll show some pictures of it at another time. Okay. Again, wipe that brush clean. Don't want any color transfers. Come in and wipe that brush clean. Wipe that comb clean. Clean it out with that water. It's good to clean between every color too. That color can cake up and start to dry and kind of dry in place. So good to keep it clean between each color. little bitty things like that that you learn from art class. You're wanting to be a stylist and wanting to know like how people, are able to execute things in cosmetology and hairstyling. A lot of it is the principles, some of the principles that you learn in art class. So your art 101 or that class you had to take in high school about art, even if you didn't know how to draw, some of those same principles really do apply when you're dealing with cosmetology. So just like I said, keeping things clean, knowing about the color wheel, what colors go with one another, all of that stuff is so very important when you're in a creative field. So don't slack in your art classes. All right, let's get started with our next color. Our next color is green. I like green because green means we're halfway there, right? So now I got a little bit of yellow in there. So we'll see where that mixes. I'm gonna pick up this green. I'm hoping for a bright green. There's a little bit of yellow in there, so I know it's gonna be a spring green in some areas, but hopefully we'll have enough of the true green when I measure it. Yeah, down into this bright white area. We'll have enough of the true green to get that color. So create my end stop and then go up and down in that area with the comb. We're going to end up coming back to that with the brush, but we go straight across with that comb. This is where we start. We're going to measure. This is going to be our end stop. And then I'm going to smooth up. I'm not going to forget to do the underside too. Can you guys see that? Don't know if I forgot to do the underside on this. Did I? Doesn't look like I did, but I can't remember. So I'm going to go back and do it now. Alrighty. Yeah. Curly hair adds a whole nother layer because when that curl springs back into place, it's almost always gonna take some other color back up into the area that you did not want it to go in. I made that a little too far. Hopefully it's not a big deal. But that is just when I pull this taut, that's a little longer than this comb. So that is not exactly where I want it. We'll see if we can't fix that with the mending of the next color. So I'm gonna be sure to take a look at that. A little bit of mistakes like that matter. We'll see if we can correct it. That blue is really hard to get, so. All right, so now we have done all of the hair with the comb. It's time to go back and paint it with the brush. Smooth in, pack that color in and blend the lines. Pack that color in to where it needs to go on all sides. Again, pulling that hair taut, pack in the color. Now, if you're finding that your color looks a little weak in areas where it's not as bright of a green as what you want, and I'm finding that in certain areas here, don't leave it. Pro tip in hairstyling, if something is not going your way, not how you expect it, don't leave it and come back to it. Fix it right away. Fix it right away, because you almost never get a chance to go back and make that right again. Or you forget, and then it's something that's not the way you want it. So fix it right away. I'm fixing it right away by going in with some more color. And hair takes differently in different spaces. Maybe it was how much I used, or, you know, how heavy my hand was when I was placing it on. Maybe it was the fact that the curl twisted and dragged some of that color in another direction. But if it's not looking the way you want to, do not be afraid to go back and add some more color until you are satisfied. Those little bitty things make a difference. I'm adding that green there. Okay. So because I have more green, I'm just going to go back and pack it in to wherever it needs to go. All right, moving on to the next color. What are we doing? Wiping our brush clean. Yes, we are. Now, you really have to be careful here, because the neon blue in the Pravana line is not a strong color. And I don't care how much I try, I'm probably going to end up not getting the blue that I want. That yellow and that green is very overpowering. So what I did in the other section was kind of like create a teal color in between that blue. But I think I will still rinse this out. And I'm not going to create the teal on the palette, because there's already going to be some yellow left in this brush that'll create the teal for me when I start using the blue. And I found that out through experience. So as you know, some people have these pro tips when they tell you what to use when and where. Sometimes it's not a way to know that other than to experience it yourself. So don't be afraid to practice. Practice what you learn. So you can see how all that yellow is still coming out of that brush. All right, let's get started again with our blue. All right, I'm going to be sure to hold this hair taut. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a yellow still in here. So I know that blue is going to pick up on it, and that's going to make it teal. We're going to go in with just some plain old blue. And you know what? I think there's some on my brush. No, there's some on my glove, which is making it that color too. We're going to just, nope. What did I just say about that pro tip? That's not right. And this is where I usually change to another set of gloves. That yellow is just so powerful. It's going to make that blue a color that's not blue. It'll be teal, turquoise. I actually like turquoise, but not when I want a blue. Especially if it has to do with another color pattern that I'm going for. If I want a blue like this, can't have yellow in there. It's going to be too green. So yeah, another set of gloves. And yeah, let's get started. So we already have some teal that's going to happen. So I want to measure. I'm going to do a little bit here. I'm not going directly up to the top. I am going to measure down so I can get my stopping point. And I'm going to smooth up And I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can see that. Maybe I should raise this up a little bit so you guys can see it. It's a tad bit teal. Let me raise this up so you can see. Yeah, there we go. It's a tad bit teal. Now this is the area that I'm leaving blank because I'm going to come in and smooth that in. So again, with the comb, I'm going up and down. We do with the comb first, and then we come back with the brush to blend it and melt the color. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap. I'm going to measure my distance, and here is where I'm going to start. Go in with a brush. So while I'm doing this, on Instagram Live, I started out talking about my domestic violence workshop that I'm going to be doing really soon. Some of you may know, I am a licensed professional counselor, and I'm doing a workshop on toxic relationships and what to do if you're in a toxic relationship, or if you know someone who is in a toxic relationship and you want to know how to help that person. So that workshop is going to be the week of Valentine's Day, but it's not going to be on Valentine's Day. It's going to be Thursday before. It'll be a Zoom workshop, so free to join, of course. Anybody who wants to, as much as I can, I want to get this information out to everybody. And yeah, a lot of people, it's a touchy subject, right? Of course. Anytime you're talking about domestic violence and relationships, being in other people's business, that can be kind of challenging. But one thing, I'm making sure to go back up and paint down. One thing is that there's nothing more beautiful than a confident woman or a confident man. It doesn't even have to be a woman, it could be a man. And you can't really be confident completely if you're in a relationship where the other party doesn't respect you. But I will tell you that rules have changed since back in the day. What used to be okay back in the day is definitely not okay anymore. But there are some people who did not get the memo when those things changed. So I know we used to look at abuse differently. I know when I was growing up, it was just about, did the person hit you? But we didn't really think about emotional abuse and financial abuse and all the other kinds of abuses. Ooh, I just did a no-no. You don't ever want to, if possible, clean the brush without wiping the brush. And I just did that. Don't do that. Try not to do that. It doesn't clean the brush thoroughly. The water gets dirtier quicker when you don't do that. So try to wipe the brush off first. Don't do like I did. Just talking too much. Can't really multitask, can you? So, now let me clean this. And just because I did that now, I know I'm going to have to go and thoroughly clean this brush and then come right back. Thanks for sticking in there with me, guys. This is a tedious process, but it comes out gorgeous. And you can see there's still color in this brush. Oh my. Take this other brush and kind of brush some of this color out. Yeah. So yeah, back to what I was saying though. Can't ever really be confident if you feel like someone is abusing you, and abuse can take on more than one type of abuse. So we're gonna go over that, what to look out for, to see if you are in a healthy relationship. So many of our favorite love songs are about people who are in relationships that are not in healthy relationships, and we think that's okay. It's just a part of life, but it doesn't really have to be that way. But then, what do you do? Like, how do you stop that? Like, what do you do with that? It's a very tough situation, and sometimes just leaving right away is not the answer. There has to be systems in place to be able to do it safely and effectively. And being a counselor, I'm going to share some of those resources with you guys. So really looking forward to that workshop. Since the COVID epidemic, there have been more and more people who have not been able to get away from their really challenging. I know I'm going to need more purple. Oh, wait, I got to use more blue because we did the teal. So I need to put down some more blue. There's so many people who have not been able to get away from challenging relationships because they're stuck at home. They don't have another way to get out of that. Nose is shining. Alrighty. So yeah, we're going to talk about what to do and how, if you need help or you know someone else who does need help, you can help them. Hopefully my brush is clean now. I'm going to go in with some blue. Plain blue. Again, I'm not going to go right in here. I'm going to go just below that. I'm going to measure, create my end spot, and then smooth up. Now I'm getting towards the end of the hair, so some of these ends are a little challenging, but that's okay. We're going to coat those as much as we can. We're going to go up under, slide it up and down. Still, we're leaving that gap here. I don't know if you can see that gap right there. You may not be able to see it. It's a little bit of a gap there. We're leaving that on purpose because we do not want to mix that teal. We want a clean blue, and we'll go in and smooth that later with the brush. So I'm going to let this part go. Go in. Make sure to hold the hair taut so I can see where the distinct line is. Go right under it. Measure where the line should end. Create my end spot. Smooth up, smooth down. Now when I smooth up, I am creating a little bit of roughage, but I'm just trying to distribute that color. So if you need to, you can go back in and smooth the hair down, and I will do that with the brush, but I did want to get that color, clean blue color.
It's 10 o'clock.
All right. And I'm already at an hour. This one went over too long. Got the end of that. Now I'm gonna go, oops, let's do the underside. That's a more pure blue color. And go in with a brush and kind of pack it in. I had a few boo-boos here. That happens sometimes. As long as you correct them. So at this point, I'm gonna go all up into, use that color and go up into that white area so that I don't have any white area on the brush. Again, that blue, it's not a powerful blue, so I need to go in and make it deep and rich. And as I get closer to the end, it gets harder to hold this hair taut. And some of that blue is gonna leak below. But it's a good thing that on that color wheel, that violet is next. And then we have that lavender violet color, because if it was a darker color, it would fade into that. It would fade into that color, and that might provide a problem or cause a problem. Well, because I know that that lavender color is light, it should not bother us too much that some of this might have a little bit of blue on it. So that's why you got to follow the color wheel, because when things like this happen, you want the colors to be able to melt into one another. And if you have a contrasting color, you don't want it to be a hot spot. So I'm just going back and making sure the color, yeah, all the white spots that are missing. All right, and then the last section is our purple. And I got a little bit of blue in here, but I am gonna actually leave it. Oh no, let's not mix on purpose. Let's clean out the blue out of the brush. I could mix it, but again, you never know. You don't do the same thing in one area, just that little thing can change your color pattern, color palette in another area. And since this I'm probably going to be using as a clip-on, I'm not exactly sure where this is going to go. I want to make sure that I don't have unfamiliar colors in one particular area because I got lazy and didn't follow the rules. Yes, don't want to do that. So there we go. All righty. Last color is our purple. Let me do a white paper towel check just to make sure I got that blue out. It's looking pretty clean. Okay. And here's our purple. Because I am at the end, this is very hard. I'm just going to pinch it and take the purple in the comb and comb through the rest of this hair. I love the purple. Just combing through the rest of his hair, combing through those tips. Making sure that it is there. On both sides. Gonna go in here, pinch where the blue is, and then comb down with the purple. into the ends. Yeah. Last section. Pick up a little bit of paint. Comb through the ends with the purple. I'm going to go back in with the brush and brush those through. I'm going to add a little more purple because that color looks a little weak to me. So I don't want to leave it weak. I want to go back in and paint it the color that I think it should be when I'm feeling the rainbow. I want that to be a little stronger. And because I know that this color is weak, that's why I was saying a little bit of blue could help that out. But again, you know, that's something where you're breaking the rules, and hopefully the feeling that you get from each color in the color wheel produces the color that you want to look. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. And you create more problems for yourself later on. So I try to follow the rules. I like that color better. Let's go back in and make sure to paint this color. And at this point, I'm going to go back and look at the transitions. Use a little more of this purple. Transitions between the purple and the blue. Just to make sure there's no white spots in here. Turn it upside down if you have to. And you can color melt in any of the areas that you need. Smoothing it in. Yep. And there we have it. All done. I like it. So at this point, I'm going to wipe off my hands. And we're going to spray with the Pravana Vivids. Pick it up. Let that sit at least about an hour. And this is the end of our Vivid workshop, our Kaleidoscope workshop. Like I said, what I probably do is go in and create a deep root and then use this probably as either a bang or pops of color, or maybe even an underpainting. That's what they call it. Maybe an underpainting. But really, the possibilities are endless with that. I just thought it's like a really cool look, and I enjoyed practicing this with you guys. Let me know if you're interested in doing a Sosa's Beauty Academy on this particular look or version of this look, where I would provide the information for you and provide the tools for you. We can send it to you in the mail, and then we can do a one-on-one live with you. So yeah, sounds like a plan. Then hit me up in the DMs. I am going to go. I just noticed I never checked the comment section. I'm so sorry. I didn't check the comments. I got 2 comments. Sorry guys, I didn't check the comments this time, but hopefully you were able to see everything. And I will come back and show you how I use this look. So if there are no more questions, I took you over the time. I apologize for that, but I hope you enjoyed it. And next week on Solstice Live, we'll have something more exciting for you. Until then, I am Sunshine Valentine. If you have other questions, you can be sure to take a look at the link down here for the Solstice Beauty Academy. You can always shoot me an email or a DM. And yeah, until next time, this is Sunshine Valentine reminding you to keep shining. Bye-bye.